My family forgot my birthday for the sixth year in a row. 7 days later, my mother emailed me a $5,600 invoice for my younger brother's 3-day birthday weekend at a luxury mountain resort. My name appeared beneath the words family sponsor. It did not appear anywhere on the guest list. The suite my money was supposed to cover had been assigned to my brother's fiancé's parents. The private wine dinner was limited to couples, wedding, party members, and immediate family. My father added a note saying, "Please don't make this about your birthday again." My brother texted, "You don't have a husband or kids, so what exactly are you saving for?" I transferred $6, one for every birthday they had ignored, and wrote, "Buy 6 candles and try remembering who paid." Then I removed every family member from every credit card, phone plan, streaming account, roadside membership, grocery service, emergency fund, and travel profile connected to my name. 43 minutes later, my mother called screaming that my father's gas card had been declined. Not one person said happy belated birthday. 3 weeks later, at Thanksgiving, they would seat me beside the kitchen door, place a typed apology and wedding payment schedule beside my plate, and ask 28 relatives to pressure me into restoring everything. They believed the daughter who had spent years quietly keeping the family comfortable would never risk making the holiday uncomfortable. They were wrong. My name is Elise Warren. I was 33 when this happened, and I lived in a small brick townhouse in Durham, North Carolina, about 90 minutes from the house where I grew up outside Winston-Salem. I worked as a senior procurement auditor for a nonprofit hospital network. My job was to examine vendor charges, emergency purchases, service contracts, and billing patterns across 5 hospitals. I spent my days finding the quiet costs nobody noticed until they became expensive: duplicate maintenance invoices, delivery surcharges hidden beneath vague descriptions, equipment rented for months after departments stopped using it, managers approving purchases because questioning a confident person felt harder than signing. I was good at the work because I understood how exploitation survived. It rarely announced itself as exploitation. It arrived as urgency, tradition, convenience, or one small favor nobody wanted to argue about. My family had built an entire lifestyle from those words. My parents, Martin and Gwen Warren, had been married for 37 years. Dad spent most of his career managing regional sales for a commercial flooring distributor. He liked golf shirts, detailed spreadsheets, and being treated as the practical authority in every room. Mom worked part-time for our church and organized charity luncheons, holiday markets, graduation receptions, and the kind of birthday celebrations that required printed menus. She could remember a cousin's wedding colors from 12 years earlier, but had somehow forgotten the date she gave birth to me 6 years in a row. My younger brother, Trevor, was 30 and worked in luxury real estate marketing. His job involved photographing expensive houses, creating promotional videos for vacation rentals, and speaking online about building generational freedom. Despite having never paid a full year of his own car insurance, Trevor was charismatic, handsome, and permanently positioned one achievement away from becoming the man my parents had already been praising for decades. My younger sister, Avery, was 28 and managed the front desk and social media accounts for a boutique fitness studio. She was not favored as openly as Trevor, but she learned early that agreeing with Mom and avoiding Dad's anger earned easier access to family comfort. Trevor demanded. Avery adapted. I provided. Those were our roles. Nobody assigned them in a formal meeting. Families rarely do. The roles formed through thousands of small decisions. Trevor needed the larger bedroom because boys required space. Avery needed Mom at dance competitions because she became anxious before performing. Elise could wait because Elise understood. When Trevor failed a college course, Dad arranged tutoring and blamed the professor. When I received a scholarship, my parents used the money they had saved for my tuition to help Trevor purchase a newer truck because, according to Dad, my success had created flexibility for the whole family. When Avery struggled with student housing, I paid her deposit. When I moved into my first apartment after graduate school, Dad said borrowing his truck would be inconvenient because Trevor needed it for a networking event. I moved using my compact car and a coworker's minivan. Mom later told relatives I had always been fiercely independent. Independence was the compliment they used when they wanted my resilience, without acknowledging what had required it. Birthdays made the hierarchy visible. As children, Trevor's birthday usually involved rented entertainment, sports tickets, or a weekend trip. His 10th birthday had a magician. His 16th included a lake house weekend, and the used Jeep my father spent 6 months restoring. His 21st became a 3-day Nashville trip. His 25th included a private room at a steakhouse, custom whiskey glasses, and a video montage Mom edited for weeks. Avery received thoughtful dinners, spa days, and personalized cakes. My birthdays were not always ignored when I was young, but they were repeatedly adjusted around other people's needs. My 13th birthday dinner moved because Trevor had a baseball tournament. My 17th was combined with Avery's dance recital celebration. My 21st occurred during Dad's sales conference, so Mom promised we would celebrate later. Later became a grocery store cake eaten after Sunday dinner while Trevor discussed an internship. I learned not to request attention directly because asking made the attention feel contaminated. The family would technically provide something, but their size reminded me the celebration had become administrative work. I became the person who said, "It's fine," before anyone needed to disappoint me openly. By adulthood, my birthdays disappeared almost completely. The first forgotten year happened when I was 28. Mom was helping Trevor move into a downtown apartment he could not afford. Dad called 2 days later and said he had been overwhelmed by the security deposit. Avery sent a heart emoji after seeing a social media reminder. Trevor said, "You're almost 30. Birthdays aren't a big deal anymore." The next year, everyone attended a weekend open house for a development Trevor was marketing. Mom said she had intended to call from the car. The year after that, Dad's knee surgery created genuine stress. I forgave them before they apologized. The fourth year, Avery posted photographs from a family brunch I had not known was happening. When I commented, "Looks fun," she deleted the comment because Mom said it sounded passive-aggressive. The fifth year, Mom sent a message at 11:50, 2 p.m., saying, "Today felt important. Did I miss something?" I stared at the screen, typed, "My birthday," and watched the typing bubble appear and disappear. She replied the next morning, "You know how chaotic things are with Trevor's engagement plans." That sentence should have ended my financial role then. It did not. I had spent years using money to maintain a place in the family after emotional closeness became unreliable. The pattern began innocently. I added Mom to my credit card after she needed emergency dental work, and Dad's insurance reimbursement was delayed. I added Dad to a fuel card because his company had changed expense systems during a business trip. Trevor received access to a backup card after losing his job during the pandemic. Avery used my grocery delivery membership while recovering from ankle surgery. Then temporary convenience became permanent entitlement. Dad used the fuel card after retiring because he said changing routines was unnecessary. Mom kept the credit card for prescriptions, church purchases, and little family things. Trevor's temporary access remained active through 2 new jobs and an engagement. Avery continued using delivery discounts, streaming services, and the phone plan I had added her to during graduate school. I paid for the premium family phone package because combining accounts was cheaper, though nobody reimbursed me consistently. I paid for Netflix, Hulu, Max, Disney Plus, Spotify Family, cloud storage, roadside assistance, airport lounge access, a warehouse club membership, meal delivery, and the family photo backup service Mom insisted preserved our memories. I also covered larger emergencies. $12,000 for Mom's dental implants, $9,400 toward the deductible after a storm damaged my parents' roof, $18,000 for Trevor's townhouse deposit after Dad said renting made him look unstable to luxury clients, $7,200 for Avery's final semester when her aid package changed, $4,000 for Dad's replacement transmission, $3,000 for Trevor's engagement photographer because he promised the promotional images would help his business. None of those payments felt like exploitation individually. someone cried. Someone promised repayment. Someone said the family's reputation, health, housing, or future depended on quick action. I transferred the money because I could, and because being needed produced the closest thing to inclusion I reliably received. For several days after each transfer, Mom called more often. Dad thanked me. Trevor used the affectionate nickname Ellie. Avery sent long messages about how much she appreciated me. Then the emergency passed, and I returned to the side of the photograph. I knew the arrangement was unequal. I did not understand how completely they had stopped seeing the person beneath it until the resort invoice arrived. My 33rd birthday fell on a Wednesday in March. I worked a normal day, reviewed a hospital laundry contract, attended a staff meeting, and came home to find a small paper bag hanging from my front doorknob. Inside was lemon cake from my closest friend, June Kim, with a note reading, "Dinner Friday. No arguments. You are allowed to be celebrated." June and I had met in graduate school. She was now a pediatric occupational therapist, married to a patient, soft-spoken man named Mateo, and raising two loud daughters who treated my townhouse like an extension of their own home. June remembered every birthday without social media reminders. She also understood I became uncomfortable when people made a production of caring for me, so she celebrated without demanding gratitude. We ate dinner that Friday at a small Korean restaurant. Mateo brought a book I had mentioned months earlier. Their daughters made cards. One drew me with purple hair because she said normal hair looked insufficiently festive. I felt loved. I also checked my phone throughout the evening. No family messages, no missed calls. At 10:17, Avery liked an older photograph of mine, perhaps accidentally. That was all. I told myself I had expected nothing. Expectations do not have to be admitted to hurt. 7 days later, Mom emailed the invoice. The subject line read, "Trevor's Ridgecrest Weekend Family Split." The attached PDF came from a planning service used by Ridgecrest Mountain Resort near Asheville. Trevor's 31st birthday weekend included 2 nights of lodging, a private dining room, bourbon tasting, guided mountain drive, professional photography, catered brunch, open bar, and an evening during which he and his fiancée, Madeline Price, planned to announce their wedding date. Total package cost, $31,700. Family sponsorship divided among 6 names. Mine appeared beside $5,600. Dad and Mom had assigned themselves $7,000. Avery owed $2,500. Madeline's parents were covering $10,000. Trevor's contribution was listed as promotional partnership estimated value $6,600. In other words, he planned to create videos for the resort instead of paying cash. I scrolled to the accommodation list. Martin and Gwen Warren Mountain King Suite, Trevor Warren and Madeline Price Honeymoon Cabin, Robert and Celeste Price Terrace Suite, Avery Warren and Guest Garden Room. My name did not appear. I checked the guest manifest. Couples, wedding party members, Trevor's closest friends, 3 clients, 2 social media creators, no Elise Warren. Under event notes, Madeline had written, "Keep the atmosphere intimate and forward-looking. Avoid unresolved family tension during the announcement." I knew whose existence qualified as unresolved tension. I opened Mom's email again. Her message said, "We split evenly where possible. Trevor deserves something special after such a demanding year. Please send payment by Monday because the prices have already covered more than their share. Try not to make this about being included in every detail. You know group dynamics become complicated." My hands went cold. I read the final sentence repeatedly. Being included in every detail. As though being absent from the entire guest list was a minor scheduling distinction, I forwarded the PDF to Avery and wrote, "Am I missing a separate invitation?" She replied 12 minutes later, "I thought Mom had talked to you." "About what?" "Madeline wants the weekend to be couples and close wedding people. She thinks you and Trevor have unresolved energy." "I'm his sister." "I know. Are Mom and Dad attending?" "Yes." "Are you?" "Yes, but I'm bringing Colin." Colin was a man she had been dating for 3 months. His presence qualified her. My 33 years did not qualify me. Why am I being charged? I asked. Avery waited. Mom said everyone should contribute because the wedding announcement affects the whole family. Not enough to invite me. Elise, please don't attack me. I didn't plan it. Did you question it? I knew you'd probably be busy. Nobody asked. I'm sorry. Are you paying your portion? Another pause. Mom said I could pay over several months. Of course. My contribution had a Monday deadline. Avery's had flexibility. I closed the conversation and sat at my kitchen island until the room darkened around me. I imagined the resort, Trevor raising a glass, Mom crying proudly, Dad praising his son's ambition, Madeline's parents occupying the suite I would help fund, Avery standing beside Colin in the family photographs. My money present in every room while my body remained an inconvenience outside it. The amount mattered less than the precision of the exclusion. They had remembered my income, credit limit, email address, and transfer speed. They had forgotten my birthday and removed my name from the celebration. I opened my banking app and transferred $6 to Mom. Note: $1 for each forgotten birthday. Buy candles. Then I made coffee and opened my laptop. I did not call. Calling would have returned me to the old system where Mom cried. Dad commanded. Trevor mocked. Avery asked me to understand, and I eventually paid to end the discomfort. Instead, I treated the family like a vendor relationship requiring review. I started with recurring accounts, phone service, 4 family lines, and 2 connected watches, all charged to me. Streaming subscriptions, 8 active services across 23 devices. Warehouse membership. Mom and Dad using my secondary card. Grocery delivery. 76 orders in the previous year, including 11 from Trevor's townhouse. Roadside plan. 14 calls under Dad's vehicle, Trevor's SUV, and Avery's old Honda. Airport lounge. 17 guest entries. Cloud storage. Mom's church files. Trevor's real estate videos. Avery's fitness content, and family photographs occupying almost all available space. Credit cards. Mom had charged $8,740 over 18 months, repaying $2,100. Dad's fuel card averaged $420 monthly after retirement. Trevor's backup card had covered restaurants, photography equipment, a bachelor weekend deposit, and $1,900 in home decor. Avery's charges were smaller, but constant. I created a spreadsheet without intending to present it. Direct family support during the previous 6 years totaled $84,216, excluding gifts, meals, shared vacations, and the value of accounts. Repayments totaled $11,800. The difference sat on my screen like a second invoice. My family did not forget I existed. They remembered me in every category that reduced their costs. At 9:02 p.m., I removed all authorized users from my cards. I froze the backup accounts. I changed every password. I logged out all devices. I separated the phone lines and gave each person 30 days to transfer. I removed family members from roadside assistance, travel profiles, grocery services, cloud storage, and warehouse access. I did not cancel anything essential immediately. Dad's phone still worked. Mom's prescription account remained available. Avery could transfer her number. Boundaries did not need to create maximum panic to be real. At 9:38, I emailed the family. Effective immediately, all accounts, cards, memberships, subscriptions, reward profiles, and services under my name are for my use only. Phone lines must be transferred within 30 days. No future charge or booking may use my payment information. Please make independent arrangements. 43 minutes later, Mom called. I let it ring. Dad called. Trevor called twice. Avery wrote, "Did you just kick everyone off Max?" At 10:04, Dad texted, "Fuel card declined. Fix it tonight." Mom wrote, "Your father is stranded at Costco because the membership is not working." He was not stranded. He had his own debit card and vehicle. Trevor wrote, Spotify logged out in the middle of my workout. Are you seriously having a tantrum? Madeline sent a polite message. Hi Elise, I understand there may be confusion about the weekend payment. Could we discuss this privately before it affects vendors? Nobody mentioned my birthday. Nobody asked why I was hurt. They noticed my boundary only through the conveniences that stopped. Mom finally left a voice message. Her tone was gentle in the artificial way she used when anger needed to appear maternal. Elise, sweetheart, I don't know what has gotten into you, but punishing the family financially is not like you. Trevor's birthday and wedding announcement are extremely important. Madeline's parents have made commitments based on our word. Please stop this before you embarrass everyone. I replied with one sentence. My birthday was important too. She answered, Please don't start that again. Adults do not need annual reassurance. I looked at the resort invoice. Trevor apparently needed 2 nights, professional photography, bourbon, catering, and a mountain view to survive adulthood. I needed to stop starting drama. By morning, the family group chat had become a coordinated prosecution. Dad wrote, You have embarrassed your mother and disrupted household arrangements without warning. Trevor wrote, Nobody cares about birthdays after 30, unless they're lonely. Avery wrote, I understand you're hurt, but shutting down everything at once feels extreme. Mom wrote, We have always celebrated you in ways you refuse to recognize. I searched the chat for the previous 6 birthday dates. On one, they had discussed Trevor's closing. On another, Mom posted Avery's dance studio promotion. One contained a grocery request. 2 had no messages. The last included Mom asking me to review the resort contract while not recognizing the date. I took screenshots and closed the app. Dad called at 8. I answered because part of me wanted to hear how openly he would say it. Restore everything, he ordered. No greeting. No. Silence. Excuse me? The accounts are mine. Everyone has time to transfer necessary services. I am not paying for Trevor's weekend. You have made your point. What point? That you feel overlooked. I was forgotten 6 years and billed for an event that excluded me. This family cannot reorganize its finances every time your feelings are hurt. You should have organized them before building your finances around mine. He exhaled sharply. We raised you better than this. You raised me to be useful. That is different. Don't become clever. I'm not being clever. Your mother is crying. Trevor's vendors are waiting. Madeline's family thinks we are unreliable. Avery cannot afford 4 separate subscription plans. Those are adult problems. Family helps family. Family remembers family. He paused. Your birthday is not the issue right now. Exactly. He had summarized the relationship perfectly. My birthday had never been the issue. My money was. Trevor took the phone. Ellie, come on. He used the nickname reserved for requests. It's $5,000. You make what, 6 figures? That is not your information. You own a house. You don't have children. You're not married. What else are you spending money on? There it was. Because I had no husband or children, my income had become unassigned family inventory. My quiet life appeared empty to people who measured purpose by how much noise a household produced. Myself, I said. Try it. You act like some martyr because nobody threw a cake at you. I wasn't asking for a yacht. Then why are you ruining mine? I am not paying for it. Same thing. Only to someone who thinks my money is already his. His voice turned ugly. You know why you weren't invited? Madeline didn't want you sitting around looking bitter and making every conversation uncomfortable. The honesty hurt. Thank you for saying that. For what? For confirming the exclusion was deliberate. Don't twist it. You want me absent and financially present. I want you to stop acting like a victim. Then stop sending invoices. He laughed. Enjoy your empty house, Elise. Then he hung up. 11 minutes later, my bank sent an alert. Authorized user dispute reported. Mom had called the card company claiming her access had been removed fraudulently. Another notification followed. Trevor attempted a $7,800 charge through the resort account using my backup card. Declined. A third alert showed multiple failed logins to the family travel profile. I sat at my desk staring at the notifications until laughter came out of me unexpectedly. They had accused me of stealing control over my own accounts. Emotionally, that had always been their position. My stability belonged to the family, unless I received permission to use it for myself. Now they had created records. I saved every alert and called June. She listened, then said, "Do not delete anything. I feel ridiculous." "Why?" "Because this started with a birthday." "No, it became visible because of a birthday. Normal people don't cut off their family over cake." "You did not cut them off over cake. You stopped financing people who forgot the person and remembered the card." I began crying. "I still want Mom to call and say she's sorry." "Of course, what if she never does? Then you grieve the mother you kept paying to find." That sentence stayed with me. The resort required final authorization by noon Friday. Mom repeatedly told the booking coordinator to rerun my card. The coordinator emailed the planning thread, which still included me because Mom had used my address for payment records. "The listed cardholder has declined authorization. Please provide a valid payment method or reduce the package." Madeline replied. "Could the charge be divided among the other family cards?" Dad attempted his own card. Limit exceeded. Trevor's promotional partnership did not cover cash expenses. Avery could contribute only $500 immediately. Madeline's parents refused to increase their payment after learning I was not attending. Celeste Price wrote, "We understood Elise had voluntarily offered sponsorship. If she was excluded, that needs clarification." Mom called me 14 times. I did not answer. Trevor sent, "You're making us look poor in front of Madeline's parents," I replied. "Then plan within your budget," he answered. "You're pathetic." Madeline posted no public message, but Avery shared a black screen reading, "Sometimes people sabotage family joy because they cannot stand not being centered." Trevor posted a photograph of the resort with the caption, "Funny how blood shows its true color when celebration requires generosity." Mom shared it. I saved screenshots. The resort canceled the bourbon tasting, guided drive, and private photography when payment did not arrive. The family kept one night instead of two, and reduced the guest list. Several of Trevor's influencer friends declined after the promotional weekend disappeared. Madeline's parents moved the wedding announcement to a private dinner they paid for themselves. Trevor held his birthday in a rented restaurant room. I was still not invited. Mom later told relatives I had destroyed a once-in-a-lifetime family event because no one had sent me a birthday text. The story spread in fragments. Aunt Ruth called and asked, "Did they actually bill you when you weren't invited?" "Yes." "Did Trevor say your house was empty because you have no children?" "Yes." She became silent. "I'm sorry." One sincere apology from the wrong person nearly undid me. I thanked her and returned to work. For 2 weeks, I moved through my life carrying grief and relief together. The house felt quieter, without family notifications. Yet every silence reminded me nobody had called for reasons unrelated to access. I purchased my own birthday gift, a 6-week furniture restoration class at a community workshop. I had always wanted to learn how to repair the oak dresser my grandmother left me, but family emergencies kept taking the money and weekends. On the first evening, the instructor taught us to examine a damaged joint before deciding whether to tighten, replace, or dismantle it. "Do not pour glue into every loose connection," she said. "Sometimes old repairs make the structure worse." I wrote the sentence in my phone because it sounded like a warning meant specifically for me. Mom contacted me again in early November. "We need to settle this before Thanksgiving, and before Trevor's wedding planning moves forward." The wedding was scheduled for the following May at Greystone Vineyard, near Charlottesville. I had not received an invitation, but Mom had already asked whether I could manage guest transportation because I was organized and not part of the wedding party. Apparently, I was expected to coordinate shuttles while excluded from the rehearsal dinner, which Madeline wanted limited to couples and immediate family. Mom's Thanksgiving message read, Come ready to apologize and discuss restoring normal family arrangements. Your father has prepared a fair plan. I almost declined. June asked what I wanted. To say no once where everyone hears it. Then drive yourself. Obviously. Park where nobody can block you. You sound like a hostage negotiator. Your family treats exits as disrespect. She was right. Thanksgiving took place at my parents' house. 28 relatives attended, including Madeline and her parents. The dining room displayed a framed photograph from the resort dinner. Mom, Dad, Trevor, Madeline, Avery, Colin, and the Prices stood beneath string lights. Caption on the frame: "Family is who shows up." I had financed none of it in the end, but I understood the message. My place card waited beside the kitchen door between two teenage cousins. Couples occupied the center. Trevor and Madeline sat beside Mom and Dad. Avery and Colin sat across from them. "Why am I here?" I asked Mom. She examined the card as if someone else had arranged it. "We needed couples together. I am your daughter. Please don't begin with symbolism. You framed a photograph with a caption." Her smile disappeared. Dad approached. "Sit down, Elise." I moved my place card beside Aunt Ruth. He opened his mouth. Ruth said, "She can sit here." We